Hey guys, it's Shark from the house. And today we're going to be talking about getting into the correct finishing position. So let's get started.
What is going on, guys? We're here with Jokin, and he's looking for us to give him a couple pointers. And I have three that I noticed pretty quick. He says that he's having trouble matching his ball speed to his rev rate. So we'll focus on that first because it's actually in the starting position, in my personal opinion. It's hard to tell here, but it looks like the ball is probably in this area here. So pretty low. And then you can tell that there's not really much of a push away. So there's not really a whole lot of momentum being created naturally. There's no pendulum effect or anything like that. So the first thing that I would suggest would be to get the ball started up a little higher, almost to where your elbow is your elbow to your forearm is at a 90-degree angle in relation to your bicep, tricep, upper arm, and that will allow you to create a little bit more momentum for the bowling ball, which will then in turn create your feet to. They'll make your feet move quicker, which will then uh, create more ball speed to help you match your rev rate. Very simple fix. The only thing that you will have to figure out kind of on your own, because it's more of a feel thing, would be the timing uh, as to when you want to drop your ball into your swing. But because you take 4 steps, typically, whenever you take your first step, which you do a really good job of here, actually, is once you take your first step, the ball is pretty close into the swing. Um, so that is the first thing that I would work on, is just raising that ball up in your swing, and it will naturally create a higher ball speed for you. The next thing that I wanted to take a look at would be here at the finishing position. Let's go back a little bit. And that is going to be knee bend. Okay. So you can see here that you have a little bit of knee bend. That's not what I wanted at all. So you can see here you have just a little, very, very little amount of knee bend. If we could get that to where you have just a little bit more knee bend, I think that that is going to help you create more leverage to where you get your hips just a little bit lower, get just a little bit more knee bend. You'll create more leverage at the bottom and help you create more ball speed to then help match your uh, higher rev rate. So your ball speed and your rev rate are going to match up even better there. Um, which again is going to feel probably a little weird, but we're just trying to use our legs more instead of using our upper body to create ball speed and leverage. And the last thing that I wanted to mention would be your hand at the release point. So you can kind of see it here at the start where you're on the outside of the ball. Okay. And typically, what we want to see is your hand either right behind it or maybe even just a little bit on the inside. Just a little bit, not much. Um, just so that way, throughout your entire swing, you are in good position. Um, because the other thing that I noticed in the description here is that you're saying that your ball motion is too angular down lane, and it's not, you can't throw it hard enough to make it so your ball's hooking too much. And one thing that'll help is if you get more behind the ball, your ball will want to roll more. So it's using more energy throughout the entirety of the lane. And that way it's more controllable, more consistent, more repeatable. So I would focus on trying to get your hand more behind it. And the way that I would do that is focus on your elbow. Feel like your elbow is in closer to your body. Okay. You want your elbow in here real tight. And what that's going to do is your hand is going to then rotate around the ball, and it'll get you in a really good leverage position to then create more revolutions and more ball speed. And a good tip that I have to practice that without a bowling ball is get in your finishing stance, basically on your slide leg with your right leg slightly behind, kind of like where you're at in your finishing position here, right about there. Okay, so you want to get basically almost in a lunge, and just swing your arm next to your hip, but then on the follow through, have your forearm or your elbow brush your hip. And that'll be a good way to feel where your arm is supposed to be in relation to your body at the release point. And all you're trying to do is get your hand more on the inside of the ball instead of on the outside, because what that's going to do is, again, create more of a roll instead of a spin, which is going to use more energy throughout the entirety of the lane instead of storing a bunch of energy and then when it sees friction acting like it got kicked to the left. And then, like I said, it'll be more controllable and more repeatable. And then if you're struggling with that, then the other thing that I would do is in your setup, instead of, let's see where we can get a decent view here. So instead of when you push away, feeling like your hand is on the outside of the ball here, start it with your elbow in and more of the weight on your index finger. And feeling like a majority of the weight of the ball is, instead of more centered in your palm, feel like it's more centered towards your thumb and your index finger or even your middle finger. And that will help keep your hand on the inside of the ball, which will then help you roll the ball more. So not a lot to work on here, but I do think that these three little things are going to help generate more ball speed for you without you feeling like you have to throw it. You can just be more natural, have a very loose swing, and allow your legs to generate the ball speed for you. So like I said, I'll go over one more time. Start the ball just a tad higher in the swing. So instead of it being down here where it is now, get that elbow at a 90-degree angle and start it basically level with your hips. And then whenever you start, push the ball out away from you and allow it to swing naturally. And your feet are going to move faster as your ball is moving faster in your swing to keep up. And that will help generate ball speed for you. And second is that both second and third are at release. And I noticed that you don't slide here, which I know Chris Vi is, he's been learning how to slide for the last, 6 months or so, because basically everybody in the house was saying that he would have more success if he learned how to slide. And then he goes and makes the U.S. Open show and the World Championship show. So maybe we should get a cut of that. But, it's fine. But I do think that a little bit more knee bend here and getting your hand more on the inside of the ball, you focus on those three things at individual times. I would start with the setup and then go to knee bend and then go to your hand on the inside of the ball. Once you get the first one, the start, Once you get the start feeling comfortable, you can move on to the second one with knee bend. And then once you get comfortable with the knee bend, you can focus on your hand at the bottom. So we don't want to try to focus on all three of these things at the same time because then you're just going to get confused. So we're going to focus on one at a time and get comfortable with each of them. So that way it's more natural and you don't have to think about it before you move on to the second one. So, I mean, other than that, I think that your game is pretty solid. I mean, it's very, very simple, not a ton of moving parts, which I love to see. I think bowling is a game of simplicity, and the fewer moving parts that you have, the better. It's more repeatable that way. So I love seeing that. And, other than that, I think that, you're going to see these improvements that you're looking for with these couple tips to work on, a couple things to work on here. And I really look forward to seeing you in a couple months once you're able to practice and get comfortable with the things that we've talked about. And I really hope that you're seeing the improvements that you're wanting, because we're here to help. And I, hope to hear from you again with, a little bit of a success story. And I hope you're happy with what we're telling you, and I hope it all works. So thank you again, and look forward to seeing an updated video later on.
Thanks for watching this video, and if you guys want to get 50% off your coaching review, click the link in the description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys later.